Lobsters, mean streets, and the violence of modern life has made Martin Scorsese one of America's most respected modern filmmakers. Oh yeah, and did I mention violence? And lots of it. His unique storytelling, creative editing style, and meticulous eye to detail all lend a hand to Martin Scorsese's marvelous filmmaking. Scorsese's movies are often rooted in his own Italian-American heritage, with its social codes and violence. At a young age, Scorsese decided to become a Catholic priest. At 14, he had begun studying at the theological college, but as both puberty and the 1950s progressed, he was seduced by rock and roll. Scorsese was expelled from the seminary. Catholic themes of guilt and redemption were to become fixtures in the landscape of his movie making.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Another common theme throughout Martin Scorsese's movies involve finding oneself or self-identity. And in most of his films, we follow the main character as he tries to fit into the world around him. In Taxi Driver, Travis Bickle is a lonely man who is sort of an outcast from society. He tries to fit in and become a part of the world around him, but is disgusted by all the scum that he sees crawling throughout the night. Another character who suffers something similar to Travis Bickle is Henry Hill in the movie Goodfellas. Henry Hill in Goodfellas is trying to fit into this mob, only he doesn't really fit in because he isn't as monstrous as the rest of the gang. In both Gangs of New York and The Departed, the movies focus on self-identity and fatherhood. Bill the Butcher, a fatherly figure, or at least tries to be one, to Amsterdam, and Frank Costello, trying to be a fatherly figure to Billy Costigan. Both movies focus on self-identity. Leonardo DiCaprio plays a lead in both movies, and he puts on a fake persona in order to work his way into Bill the Butcher's and Frank Costello's gang. In Shutter Island, our main character, Teddy Daniels, starts off by searching for a missing person, but ends up finding himself and the true person he is underneath. So what techniques and motives serve as a platform for Martin Scorsese to further his themes and tones? Is it his choice of location and time period, his specific music choice, or cinematography and editing? Long tracking and panning shots are very iconic for Martin Scorsese. In fact, it is what he's most known for. They are used to portray the magnificent sets and worlds he's able to emulate, as well as the often lonesome protagonists, such as Travis in Taxi Driver and Billy Costigan in The Departed. In Taxi Driver, Travis is on the phone with Betsy, trying to mend the relationship. As he's talking and asking for another date, the camera tracks right and shows an empty corridor leading outside. According to Martin Scorsese, this was the most important shot in the movie. It emulates Travis's isolated personality and lifestyle. The camera moves away to show an empty corridor because the phone conversation is too painful and pathetic to bear. The Copacabana shot in Goodfellas is often said to be the king of all tracking shots. It is being used on a Steadicam, used very uniquely for its time, to allow a smooth transition between the outside world and the world Henry lives in. It is set at a medium shot, which is still a very personal shot, and we feel like we are following them, like they are taking us in with them. And it allows us to seamlessly flow through each level and every hiccup that Henry runs into and how he pays them all off. In fact, it could be said it is seen through the eyes of Karen, and how she experiences the transition between her world and the new world of the Mafia. Additionally, in Goodfellas, there is another unique technique used. Dolly zoom is when you move the camera closer while zooming. The subject stays the same whilst the background becomes more dominant. Scorsese used this method in Goodfellas when Jimmy and Henry are sitting at the diner. He does this to help heighten the level of paranoia that Henry is going through, as well as isolate our characters and demonstrate that now Henry is by himself. Martin Scorsese is known for his music. He uses music to help enhance the theme and story of the movie. He also uses music to set the tone and usually has theme music to help portray a certain feeling. In Gangs of New York, he uses drums and high flutes as a theme to demonstrate the distaste between the dead rabbits and the natives. Also, this usually comes on when there's a battle on screen. The light guitars of The Departed represent the search for self-identity and the double-crossing lives of our two main characters. The big bass and deep violins of Shutter Island portray the surreal and sudden exposure of the island's true colors. This theme also plays when we take a look inside our main character's mind. Martin Scorsese's use of rock is ironic and has changed film history. Martin Scorsese is very meticulous to detail, and most of the music used in the film will only have been around during that time period. Martin Scorsese's use of music, cinematography, and editing create his simply magnificent worlds. Scorsese completely immerses the audience in the world he creates. His modern take on filmmaking helps portrays the often lonesome protagonists trying to find their way in the world around them.